This demonstration is going to be about adding highlights and shadows. And one of the things that you want to make sure you have before you add too many of the highlights and shadows, before you focus on the bulk of the face, is you want to have your details done. For demonstration purposes, I don't have all my details done, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to add highlights and how to add shadows. The first thing you want to do is you want to look at your direction of light. For this particular image, the direction of light isn't really strong, but it's going to help me to know where the majority of the lights are coming from. So if I look at this side of his face is lighter, and this side is a little bit darker. So I want to come up with some kind of game plan. Maybe make a nice shadow right here. Those shadows are going to make your face look more three-dimensional, more round, height, width, and depth, as opposed to just being two-dimensional. Highlights, I'm going to have a nice highlight here. I'm going to have a highlight across his nose, down here. Okay, the tops of his eyes, those are going to be highlights too. Alright, so we're going to begin by taking a look at our layers, expanding our layer panel, and then I'm going to go ahead and deselect. And then I'm going to start with bigger items and then go to doing smaller items. So I'm going to use that pen tool and be open with the fact that you're probably going to have to make a lot of changes. The fill needs to be empty. I'm going to change the stroke and make it a nice bright color as I'm working. Okay. And then I'm going to just start to go through and do some highlights in here. I'm going to click and drag. And I'm just going to go right over the top of his hair because I know that this is going to go behind the hair. Press. Okay, so here I'm creating a handlebar for the anchor point. Pressing and holding Alt to change the direction of that highlight. I'm going to bring it around. Okay, so there's one highlight. I'm going to do another highlight right through here. Okay, I'm going to do a highlight above his eyebrows. Now these, I'm generalizing on these highlights. You can put a lot more than what I've put, but I'm generalizing for now just to make it easier. If I need to go back and say, okay, wait a second, there's too much of a difference right here, I need to change this highlight. That's what I'll do. Let's see, there's a nice big highlight that goes through here. I'm going to do his chin right here. Okay, so that's about it. The next thing I'm going to look for are some medium tones, and maybe the top of his nose right here. So I'm going to start to get a little more particular about where I put these lines. Okay. I'm going to do another tone right through here. I am going to have the body of the face, the majority of the face is all going to be filled in. So I'm okay with the fact that I'm not getting everything. Okay. This is going to be a darker shadow in here. So I'm going to do this shadow. Oops, I didn't finish that off. Okay. So I'm going to do this shadow over here. I'm going to focus on shadows now. There's a shadow over here. I'm going to actually put 2 shadows in his ear to make his ear stand out. And then there's a whole nother shadow right here. I'm going to go ahead and add because it's going to be really dark. Okay, darker shadow right here. Shadow under your chin is really important because it's going to make your chin look like it's coming out from your face. Press and hold Alt to change the direction. I'm going to do this shadow right here. A little shadow right here. Okay, so his eye still needs a lot more over here. I still need to put a lot more in his eye, but I'm going to start to fill this in to give you an idea of what we're doing with these. Let's see. So first of all, I'm going to select all of these paths, press and hold Shift on my keyboard, and then I'm going to go through and select all of these paths that I just drew. All of the paths are selected. You need to go to Object, Group, so they're all grouped together. Rename that group. Face, Hayden's face. Hit OK. And then I'm ready to expand this layer group. Now you have to use your direct selection tool, and you're going to start with what pops out more than anything else. What's in front. So the highlights are going to be what's in front, and the shadows are going to be what's behind. This layer right here needs to be behind his hair. So I'm going to take this hair and I'm going to drag it on top over here. Okay. And then the last thing is that there's this other path that needs to go inside. Okay. So this one's selected. Now you guys have options on this. When you start to select your skin tone, you can just come right over here and you can use that eyedropper and click until you find a skin tone that you like. You can come over to any of your other highlights, look at all the different skin tones that you can find. The other option is there's an actual skin tone palette that you can use. So you can go to Open Swatch Library, and then you can come over here to Skin Tones, and you can choose any of these skin tones. So if you want to make it a little more, I don't know, fake, you can come over here and choose one of these skin tones. Okay? But I'm just going to choose the skin tone that I find for now. And then remember, the other thing I showed you is if you want to lighten something up, you can double click here and then come over here and lighten it up. For now, this is what I'm going to stick with. Now, I don't want him to look like he's spotted. So I want several of these tones to match up. So now that I have this tone, I'm going to come over here and click on this one, and then just use my eyedropper and click here to make it the same attribute. So same thing here, I'm going to click here to give it the same attribute. Okay. The chin right here, I'm actually going to take this chin and I'm going to move it forward. And then use the eyedropper tool and maybe make it a little bit more light. That's probably too light. Let's try. It's a little more light. Okay? So there's just a little difference in there. Okay, so here's another highlight. And then I think I'm going to make it the same tone. Okay. And then I've got a couple shadows that I'm going to work with. But it looks like I needed to do this one first, so I'm going to switch these. This shadow over here needs to be in front of my other shadow. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll switch them. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. So now I'm going to go through and choose some of these other shadows that I want to match up. This one I want to be a little darker. And just so that we can start to get an idea of what this looks like. Now, it's going to look a little silly because I don't have the eyes completely done, and there's still a few more shades that I need to add in here. But what I need to do is I need to get an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to select, oh, there's a shadow I haven't done yet. Okay, so now I'm going to select the majority of the face, and I need to choose some kind of background color that I want to put for the majority of the face. And here is where I'm at this point. Okay? And here's where I'm at this point.